What are we looking at here, though? We're looking at something different. I guess I should just ignore that. Hello, greetings. Jim Holway, candidate for Corporation Commission. I'm here together with RUBEN GALLEGO, our CD7 Democratic candidate for Congress. And what we wanted to do is we're continuing our day-long series of bringing the campaign directly to you, the voters, right? I mean, what campaign should be about is you meeting the candidates, and it's meeting you, us talking about the real issues. And so we are using a live internet chat as one of the mechanisms to do that. So we've been coming to you at the top of every hour for 10 minutes, but we had the chance to get RUBEN GALLEGO in the middle of the hour, and we thought, hey, by all means, let's get RUBEN to join us and talk.
That's great.
And so RUBEN, what we wanted to talk a little bit about, and we'll go for like 10 minutes or so, and let me, you know, and if anybody wants to call in and give us a question, we have our very fancy call-in number sign here. You can call in, we'll answer the phone, and our staff will feed the question to us. So 602-253-4729 is probably the best way to get a question into us. So
I like this. It feels very Wayne's World.
It is. We're experimenting with modern technology. How to engage the voters
all about that. Yeah.
You know, and I know you are. I mean, you've certainly had one of the campaigns that's really gone out of its way to engage the voters in your district. And to be honest, you know, full disclosure, I live in South Phoenix. I live in RUBEN GALLEGO's district. And one of our biggest challenges is turning out people to vote. So anything we can do to engage the public and come out and vote, we want to do that.
Absolutely.
And so one of the themes that we said we'd talk a bit about here, which is becoming increasingly important, is the importance of the independent voter and how important they are. They've become the major party in Arizona, is the none of the above party, I guess.
Right.
And so Ruben, maybe a few thoughts you have on the importance of that independent voter. How do we engage them? How do we reach out to them? And how do you think they're potentially influencing Arizona politics going forward?
Well, I think it's important that we recognize independent voters are registering that way for whatever reason. But the most important reason, I think, is because they're feeling disconnected from their government. And I think the thing that we should do as policymakers is, you know, make sure that we reach out to them, talk to them, and we explain to them, you know, why I am a good person for this job, right? Whether it's Corporation Commission or Congress. And most of the time, you know, I feel with almost any voter, as long as you can really articulate a message or connect with the voter about how you're going to change their lives or going to be, have a net benefit impact to their lives, I think they'll vote. But it's very difficult to do that nowadays, especially, you know, because it costs a lot of money. But, you know, if you take the time, I think, and really keep putting the effort in, I think it really will make a difference.
Well, that's great. And one of the things that I've been trying to highlight through the campaign is the importance of having, this is different than the independent voter, but having a corporation commission that's independent. Corporation commission is a very unique structure. It was created by the Arizona Constitution. We're one of only 7 states in the country that has a commission established constitutionally. And we did that because we wanted to be independent from the governor, independent from the legislature, and certainly independent from the utilities. And now we're looking at a potential where a lot of dark funding has come in, particularly from Arizona Public Service, in an effort to buy and control this commission. And so part of the message is Arizonans, we really need to stand up and insist on an independent commission. That's one of the things I'm running on. But let me maybe switch gears a little bit, Ruben, and take advantage of the fact that you're coming in with a much broader perspective. You're coming in as someone running to be part of the U.S. government, and you know, well beyond the state of Arizona. But I'm wondering, you know, whether it's issues about dark funding or whether there are particular energy or water or natural resource issues that are important to Arizona that are also important to you that maybe you want to share a few thoughts on.
Well, I mean, for me, you know, I do want to make sure that our economy is moving more and more towards a less based on a carbon-based economy. You know, obviously coal and natural gas are always going to be part of our energy mix. But I think we as a country should also, especially for national security reasons, should have a good mixture also of renewables. You know, one of the things I think that I've seen that I've been very disappointed about, especially here in Arizona, is that you know, as solar has become cheaper, and cheaper, the actual subsidies and assistance to actually create more solar has been going down the last couple of years. And I think that's a big detriment to Arizona, not just because, you know, in terms of producing clean air, but also producing some good jobs and jobs of the future. So, you know, on a national scale, the way I look at it, you know, we have to make sure that we're investing in a lot of the solar technology through our different departments. For example, the Department of Defense is one of the biggest investors in renewable energy. So, but back to how we deal with the Corporation Commission and who should be regulating. The independence of not just the Corporation Commission, but anything that's a regulatory body really should be independent. And I think it's a bad day when the people that are being regulated are trying to affect the regulations through political, very transparent. So it's a very dangerous situation. I think that's something that we have to consistently be on guard against.
And Ruben, I fully agree with you. Obviously, as a candidate, I have a biased view on this issue. And if anyone wants to look further, we had a good conversation with Terry Goddard about what, as Secretary of State, he's interested in trying to do about this issue. Right. We did that at a noon broadcast. But I also really appreciate your comments that that you see that connection between what we do on energy and water, advancing renewable resources, and one, our economy, and two, our national security. Absolutely. I think you're entirely right. We have an enormous resource. The more we tap that, the less we're dependent on other countries, the more we can use our resources here, clearly the better shape we're in. I don't think there's any question about that.
Absolutely. And I think if you talk to a voter, they actually do want to see more renewables. I certainly live in my little neighborhood. We have a lot of people with solar rooftops, of different varying ages, races, and sex, and even income. And I think, the Corporation Commission should be favorable to something like this, or the people that represent, whether Democrat or Republican, should be a reflection, I think, of the will of the voters.
Right. And Ruben, obviously some of the controversies going on today, I won't ask you to take a position yet, but I know you're very well aware of the issues of the carbon economy, and clearly we do have proposed regulations with significant impacts on Arizona, and I'm somewhat troubled by, we have the environmental community on one side that's like, well, look, we've got to shut down coal tomorrow and we've got to implement these regulations. I think we have the sort of, sometimes it seems like the mainstream of the Arizona economy on the other side. It's like, these regulations are foolish and stupid and we need to get rid of them. And I think it leaves folks like you and I who want to find that middle ground that works for everyone with the challenge to do that.
But I think there's always an opportunity to come up with a compromise, but you have to have, I think from my experience, at least dealing with the environmental community, they are actually more willing to compromise than they're given credit for. But the nature of what's happening now is, I think, it seems so no holds bar that it makes both sides actually get to the corners. But I think we have to, be pragmatic about how we want our, energy mix to be coming in the future.
Absolutely. And in a sense, as we wind up, I think it brings us back to where we started the conversation, which is, how do we reach out across the political spectrum? So as I'm saying, as I'm going campaigning, and I imagine you have some similar themes, it's like, look, I'm running to represent everybody in Arizona. I don't care what party you're from. Yes, I'm a Democrat, but I believe represent our state is to pull everyone together to find that common ground and to invest in our future and get past this political divisiveness that has clearly infected both the federal government and Arizona. And I'm hopeful in the same way that I can get us past that. I'm optimistic and hopeful that you can be part of getting us past that national line.
Look, and I think the days of the blood sport of politics really need to go away. We obviously will stand up for our values, and we have to as Democrats. But we have some really good friends across the aisle, and we should make sure to treat them with respect and try to find a way to work with them. I think if we had more of that, Republicans working with Democrats, on common ground, I think we'd be a better state.
Absolutely. Ruben, any final comment? Say goodbye to everybody.
No, everybody just make sure you do come out and vote. We got to make sure that everyone, the politicians hear the opinion of the voters. And I think if you come out and you bring your family out, no matter what, it's always a win-win for the state.
Absolutely. Ruben, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your service.
No problem.
I look forward to continuing to work with you.